It's
Yes,
also
luckily our
these are
timer is
big
working
round
again. My husband
puzzles.
spent a little time
They're
to get
bigger
it
than
back on
circle
track. We
colors.
didn't have a timer last week. So let's count down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Good luck, everyone.
Oh,
Good luck. And we're tearing into November right away here with EJJ on this
oh my god.
circle ones are always
My
pretty
god, look how many
pretty
pieces
wild
I
because
have stuck
the
together.
big piece size, and circles aren't quite as commonly practiced yet.
Okay,
I think
okay.
it's
Go
really
away.
coming around now.
Headphones.
But it's going to be fun to see how many people have maybe seen this one before,
This is
or
very
maybe just have
cute. Look at
like
that stuck
really
together.
dug into the
These
Eeboo play.
circles stuck
So
together.
what do
That's stuck
we have
together.
here, Michelle?
Yeah, so this is,
That's one?
as you say, from
Oh,
Eeboo.
that's
This
not
is a
corner, is it?
a woman-owned company from America, and they specialize in artwork by
Look how
female
many pieces.
artists. I just realized, so we did have another image from Eeboo a few weeks
I
ago.
say
It was a
corners.
hairs
I meant
puzzle, and it
edge.
also happened to be a vase of flowers, but I didn't do
I
that
haven't speed
intentionally.
puzzled in
This one
a
is called
week.
Crazy Bug
I'm
Bouquet.
being kind of
So
low on
while
energy.
there is some flowers in there and different plants, you'll see that there
Plus,
are a lot of
end of the sea.
butterflies,
That's
ants, caterpillars,
end of the
and
sea. I
beetles.
just like
They all have
not
faces
sleeping
on
very
them.
well, I
There's even a
guess.
snail on there and some ants. Yeah, crawling amongst a bouquet of interesting vegetation. It's a circular
Oh wow.
puzzle, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
background color is
quite
gonna
fun, colorful puzzle.
because there was an
Oh
the
yeah,
other Eevee puzzle I
this is
did
really lovely.
was
It's an
um
interesting combination of busy with a lot of
the
gradient
Twitch
in
puzzles
the
theme,
background to play along with as well.
and it
So being able to decide what you want to work on early
had
is
like
going to be really
color kind
important
of
on this
difference
one.
together.
Can really see like that table at the bottom has some
You
good
see
brown
that?
in it.
You
The
seeing it?
backgrounds are solid. The vase itself is really good, and then a lot of those plants have some interesting textures on them that if you get caught up in some of the
This is unfair.
distinguishing some of the colors, you might be able to dig into a little bit of the texture to build some anchor points.
So many
But
things are
this is
stuck.
really interesting, and those this sort of scenic
Fish.
scene circle puzzle can be a little tricky for people who aren't quite as comfortable doing a
The
lot of
next
shape work,
other thing, the vase
because
that is very
instead of
dark.
being
So
able
that one,
to radiate out very easily or
but
like
yeah,
using sectors, you really have to build anchors with
the
slightly
different
awkward
texture.
shapes, with slightly awkward shapes, which is pretty interesting. Um, we're
In
about
the end,
2 minutes and 40 seconds in here,
Jigsaw.
and
I don't really
people
have
are
that much.
still
Look at
flipping.
that!
We're going to see
Holy moly!
a
Look
lot of
at
the
that!
top
So many
people
pieces stuck together.
wrap up their
Holy,
flip probably around the
holy
3 minute mark, a
macaroni!
little over, and get going. It's gonna. I'm really curious what sort of targets people aim for right
And
out the gate.
they're like just not
Um,
cut. I mean,
I
if
know
this
that.
was in competition, I
Oh, go ahead.
might just like
Sorry, I'll just
break them
introduce who
apart.
we've got on the screen.
Mhm.
They're
So we have I'm going to start at
not like I
N
can
on the
win, but
alphabet,
still,
work my way
because
down
we're
to Z,
competing.
and
I will
then
keep.
jump up to the A's. So we have Nicole from Bulgaria,
I don't even
Paloma
have
from
to put so
Spain,
many pieces
Roxy
together.
from the UK, Sabina uh, from Czech, uh, yes, Czech
Round puzzle.
Republic, Sarah
Look,
from Sweden, and Simona from Germany.
like it doesn't cut.
Yeah, lovely.
Many
Already
pieces
off to
stuck
a really
together.
good start. You can see some people
I'm gonna
sorting either the
first.
edges or trying to pull
Honestly,
in towards the circle, the center circle a little bit more, um, and using that. No, no, I just got a hand wave for no from
like
somebody there. Um, moving very rapidly. It is cool to see the different hand techniques that people have. Some folks are very rapid and have their fingers sort of flying across very quickly, and some people are much more precision based, doing one piece at a time across the board, which is really neat.
Yeah, so we also have Smaranda from Romania, Stein from Belgium. So Stein will actually be our guest interview later on at the end of the live stream. So Stein is a traveling speed puzzler. He's been everywhere recently. He was in Germany for the trio competition. He was in Spain at Worlds. Last month he was in, well, last weekend ago, he was in France for the 24-hour competition. Yesterday, I saw him at the 10-hour competition in Belgium, And later this month, he will be in Slovenia for the first national championships there. So we're going to have a chat to him about the different competitions. We also have on screen Susanna from Germany, Teresa from Sweden, and Tobias from Sweden.
And how cool is it that there's so many more competitions now that people can actually be
Well,
traveling puzzlers and go to
there's
them? It's really, really
side,
wonderful.
one is this way,
And
then
you
is
can
this
see
way.
here on Tobias's board, he's starting to build have his build area a little more cleared out, and he's working on the outer edge of it while
and
putting some of
guys
the
on this.
pieces in towards the middle, and that's going to allow him to have a little bit more of controlled space and not have to worry about reshuffling pieces as he's building out. And Tobias is one of those precision puzzlers where it appears a little bit slower, but he's so accurate with the placement that it's like a typewriter machine. It's phenomenal. Suzanne seems to be doing wonderful. We're coming up on the 6-minute mark here, so majority of people are complete
from
with
lighter
their flip and
darkers.
running wild on this puzzle right away. So Jen already has that bottom part of the edge done with the table and a little bit of the background there. Looks like they may be trying to curl up and around. Yeah, a lot of people have sorted the edges on this, and that's one of the tactics that you can use here. There's about I think it's 50 or 51 pieces for the circle Eeboo puzzles on the edge, so there's not as much of a time sink whenever you pull those all at once. But the catch is because because the pieces are so large and it takes up a lot of space, sometimes you can run into space issues early on whenever you go that route. It's not necessarily there's always trade-offs no matter what strategy you go for whenever you're doing this kind of puzzling.
Yeah, I really like what Vicky's doing. So Vicky is doing her pick and place. So very different to Tobias, where she is starting in the middle with looks like with the reds. So that's Vicky from Hungary. Also on screen we have Uta from Germany, Veronica from Germany, Veronica from Slovakia, and Veroni from Switzerland.
It's just all the Verons in this particular window here. Yeah, I really like Vicky's tactic here of picking out specific colors and textures and building islands around them. Vicky's also one of the puzzlers that has a really good sense of shapes of the pieces and how they fit together well. So this creating islands and placing them down is really slick. It can seem slow early on, but it picks up pace in the second half. Tobias has his full edge completed at this point. Yeah, so somebody many people will have worked with Jin at some point. Really fantastic. I think Veronica there has tape measured off probably for a world's regulation size. And yeah, Boken Business, for top puzzlers, having your flip and initial sort completed in under 3 minutes is usually the goal, because that's that's your rate of speed just to get going, and then every bit ahead of that is a net win. Yeah, a lot of people doing that bottom edge first. It's nice to have a distinguished part of the edge in order to build off of. Sometimes you can run into a situation where the whole edge is very samey or it has a lot of the same pattern, and so you can get caught up trying to force in all of those pieces. So a big trick for all the puzzlers is to make sure that you move on whenever you're stuck. We have some people saying that they think that the time here is going to be like 47 minutes and 35. That's Sandra. I think earlier I saw a pretty quick one.
Oh, like I could go
yeah,
for the pinks.
if you have guesses of what you think the times are going to be, please throw them up there, because I'm curious what the world thinks at this point.
Yeah, I'd just like to point out. So, what I like about one of the things I like about this puzzle was that the plants have different textures. So you can see that there's like a red plant with like a white
Kind of like
webbing or a
speckle.
white net
What is it?
around it, which stands out really quickly. We just saw all the Veronis working on that. They'd all pulled those out. There's also like something that I call it a pineapple. It's probably not a pineapple, but it has that kind of texture around it, like
Purple,
a grid
purple.
pattern going around. And there's also like a flower with like a zigzag texture on it. So those are all fun ones to pull out.
Yeah, and you can see that I think it's Louisa there has most of the vase built and is starting to do a little bit of the table inside of there. And that vase is a great pick. It's a solid dark blue purple. It's pretty clear on all the pieces. And you're right. I would love to go for that pineapple as well because that's a nice brown that has a good texture that you can
That's
aim for and pull out really quickly. I'm
butterfly.
curious to see when people go for
Butterfly.
some of those wackier textures. There's that one that has the brown, like Charlie Brown zigzags, that flower in the middle. But if you're seeing the reds or you're seeing the blues, you're seeing the purples, go for it and build it out, right? Like the priority is to get pieces in. So if your eye gravitates towards small, like colors that are relatively the same, and there's not too many of them, go for it and start hammering away at it.
Yeah, so on the screen we have Victor from Poland, Yasmin, just a moment, Yasmin
these-
from Germany, Aaron from the UK, Agnieszka from Latvia, Amka from Germany, and I'm also going to put Anna on there, Anna from Sweden. And I think it's interesting how Victor has got the centerpiece. So there's a very tight circle. The pieces are very easy to identify. He's started there and he's building out towards the bottom. And you can see he's got the purple vase going. So also a very different tactic to Vicky or to Tobias. So yeah, there's different places you can start here. Some are starting with specific textures, others with a border, other with the vase. You can see Agnieszka really has the vase. Also Aaron working on that purple part there.
Yeah, I think if it were me, I might forego the border, the doing the full border, and focus mostly on larger areas of similar things that I can play around with, like that table or the vase. Um, the red colors, there's not a whole lot of them. It's probably in total about the same amount as that brown table and the blue vase. So if you get those islands in, it's going to be good to work off of, and then you can kind of sunburst into the rest of the puzzle as you start digging through it a little bit. Somebody's estimating 3930 for this one. um, I think this might be a relatively slower one unless people have seen it before. So I might be tempted to say that
vase.
around the
This is the
44
vase.
minute mark for some of
This
our faster puzzlers
the
on this one.
bottom of
But all sorts of things can happen in a short
yeah.
period of time. We're coming up on about we're coming up on 13 minutes here. And so there's a lot of great things happening.
Yeah, I think when it comes to building, I mean, a circle puzzle is generally larger, and this puzzle also has larger pieces. So if you have a smaller puzzling space, it is harder to get that circle done because you end up like pushing your pieces towards the outer. I mean, it works for Tobias because he's got a very large puzzling space, but you can see Victor has about half the size of space that Tobias has, and so that's probably why he's chosen to start with some of the internal elements before trying to get the border done.
Yeah, the space management is huge, and even just where you put your pieces when you're not
There's like
working on them
white
is kind
stuff
of a big deal.
also.
You
White
can
stuff.
see on screen now. I can't quite read the name, but she has her pieces sort of spread out in a rainbow pattern above
Like
where
you have to
she's
pick up
about
things and
above where
place
she's
them in
working,
the reds.
and that can be a good that can be a really good initial setup because you can grab from a whole bunch of different spots. The concern that you got to look out for is over time you can start splitting that pile a little bit, and then if you look to your right where you have more pieces but you kind of neglect that upper left zone, you may skip over some really important things that you're looking for as you start digging through.
Hmm. Yes, so we have also on screen, we have Annelies from Belgium. She did really well in the Jan van Hasteren competition with her team. uh, so they're from Belgium, but their team went over to the Netherlands, and I think they came fifth in their competition. We also have Annemie and her unicorns from Switzerland, Acadius from Poland, Aurora from Norway, and Aislinn from Argentina with looks like the mouse from Ratatouille.
Hey, if
If-
if if a friendly mouse helps you puzzle faster, I'm all for it, right? Like if it needs to tug onto a braid to make sure that you get a couple pieces in, that's absolutely wonderful. And you can actually see they have a lot of that vase built, and some of the bottom edge, and it looks like they're shifting over to doing some of those red flowers and building those islands together a little bit. So I'm always curious with this kind of tactic is can puzzlers see where the joins happen, where that space between the bigger islands that you're building, how do they connect to each other, so that way you don't end up burning a lot of time trying to find where does this one piece go. It's like, oh, I already built that island, they just need to stick together. So keep an eye out for that as people keep chugging through here.
Okay, so we have Bibi from Denmark, Birgit from Germany, and we have Boo. I don't recognize the name. They just joined now. I'll just double check if I have a registration. Don't recognize the name. Then we have Karian. Oh, spreadsheets. Now my list has disappeared. What number are we again? We're at number 25. How does this happen?
Also,
Okay,
this
there we
one.
go. Spreadsheet's not my
Sometimes
skill.
spreadsheets are a lot like puzzles. They just shift around a little bit on you. But this crew right here is doing a really fantastic job. You can see one. I think it's Carolyn there has the whole edge complete and is now going in and trying to do that pick and place tactic of finding specific reds, dropping them about where they go, plus or minus about a piece location, which is really difficult. But a rewarding methodology if you can get it down right.
Yeah, somebody has commented that it might be Remy from Ratatouille, the mouse that's on Aislenn's shoulder. That might be the inspiration. All right, so we also have on screen Karian from the Netherlands, Carolyn Arnsmeyer from Germany, and Carolyn Schöneis from Germany.
Yeah. And it's really I always encourage people to watch your puzzlers' hands, because as you go through, you'll notice that some people keep their palms almost flat towards the table the whole time, and they use just their fingertips to manipulate the pieces. And sometimes people go in and they'll rotate their hand a whole lot, and they'll use like their left hand almost like a miniature board and just load that up. And sometimes that extra bit of that extra flipping back and forth gives you a little bit of extra speed because you have the rotation. Sometimes it can slow you down a little bit, just because you're kind of getting off center or not having your hand right where it needs to be in the most efficient way. But a lot of times, if it's a slower puzzle, those little kinds of ticks aren't going to add up as much as just being able to find the pieces that you're looking for. It's really cool that with a lot of the Netherlands puzzles, you can see them taking a few moments to really study the image, and then they'll go into the pile and try to find what they're looking for. And that's different from some of the U.S. puzzlers who are very much on the table solvers, where they'll just whatever's on the table, they barely look at the image at all. And that changes from person to person, which is really neat. A couple of dark tables there too, which is might help some of these backgrounds stand out really well. Having a black table on this one could be advantage here.
On screen right now, we have Chantal from the Netherlands, Charlene from Switzerland, Chiara from Italy, Christina from Denmark, Colin from Ireland, and Connie from the Netherlands. Now, behind Colin, you'll see another pair of hands moving. So Colin is working together, well, in the same room as Hi-Fi, who we'll see a bit later.
It's always fun getting to compete right across from somebody, because you can egg each other on a little bit, or it gives you a sense of pacing, which is really fun. Or in the middle of a puzzle, you can just give your friend a high five in the middle of it, as long as it doesn't slow you down too much. But they're doing a really fantastic job. You can see that I think the first person there has most of the center built in small chunks. They just need to join it up a little bit. They have a really good start on the border. The question's going to be, or do you start to worry about blocking the box a little bit, and getting stuck inside of the circle with extra pieces? You can see in the lower left there, a lot of those red flowers have been built. The border's not totally secure, and so you can see that there's a little bit of readjustment going on as the perfect placement relative to where the border is shifts a little bit until that's fully locked in.
Yeah, so something that Christina Riva Thompson, so on the bottom left, is doing, and that reminds me of something that I do with round puzzles. What I realize is I don't like closing off the circle too soon. I will often try to do the border, but I leave a gap, and that leaves a space for me to slide in pieces as I need them, or if I've built pieces outside, and not to take up too much space. So I don't know if that is her strategy, or if that just happens that she's just looks like that at the moment.
Yeah, it's a really great way to make sure that you can filter pieces in. The drawback is that if you're trying to perfect place things and you're using that pick and place or the dead reckoning, sometimes because you don't have the spacing quite right, you end up having to go back and readjust things several times. So it's a matter of making sure that you're continually using the best tactic for what you're working on, which is really cool. Plus, it looks like a fun little American football there, which is kind of fun.
So we also have, so I'm leaving Chiara on the screen for a bit longer. So we also have Dietmar from Germany, Edith from USA, Ellen from the Netherlands, Emilia from Finland, and Emily from Estonia.
Yeah, and here we're seeing the whole range of puzzling, as it were. Chiara is doing very much a hodgepodge of different methodologies. She has some of the edge completed. She has a lot of islands for those red flowers built in. Is now moving around trying to find the next target. May end up moving up to that upper portion because it looks like she's sorted some of that blue, which is really cool.
There's another one.
Amelia looks to be
there's
moving
another one.
very
It's
well
right
here.
there.
Has a lot of the lower edge and the vase built. She's kind of working from the bottom up. It looks like has
right
also
here.
done some of those red flower islands as well, and is going to build in from there. Prim cheering Amelia on, and Amelia's also sorted out that upper blue as well. Which could be handy to help lower the noise of those other pieces. I think those are all the upper edge, and I'm a little nervous because the part of that ring seems to be dangerously close to the edge of the table there, and so I'm a little stressed seeing that. But a quick shift will keep that right in place, which is really great. We can see next to her, Ellen has full border vase built and a little bit of the flowers going. Looks like she might be going trying to aim for some of the that inner white flower, or like the sort of the triangle shaped flower, and some of the noodlies that are coming out of it, which is really neat. It's also kind of fun. I don't think this gets mentioned quite as often, but puzzlers will come up with the craziest names for things as they're puzzling that just looks like a texture or color as they're going through, and then tell themselves, oh, I'm looking for the noodle, I'm looking for the string bean, and it's not actually a string bean or a noodle. It's just what the brain interprets in that moment and lets you focus in order to hunt it down.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because there's also another object on there. It's like a red flower with a very textured, so it's a circular red fruit or plant, and it has this very textured surface on it. And I just, in my head, I mean, it's not a pomegranate, but in my head, I was looking for the pomegranate pieces.
Yeah.
So on the screen, we have Philippa from
Oh,
Portugal, Freya from Denmark, Hannah from
big
Finland,
stuff.
Heike from Germany, Helen
Person.
from the UK,
This guy?
and Hi-Fi from Germany. Yes, from Germany. Okay. So we had the question in the comments. So on the other table behind Hi-Fi is Colin Farrell. Is it the famous Colin Farrell? We didn't see the face.
Yeah, we can't confirm that it's not.
Yeah. Hey,
but
celebrities can also get into speed puzzling.
why not? Well, hopefully they're embodying Colin Farrell's bullseye villain from the Marvel movies, and is striking those pieces down exactly where they go to save themselves a little bit of time. Frey is off to a really good start here. It looks like Helena has a lot of that bottom built out and is going for some of that lighter orange background,
Yeah,
that sort of pinkish orangish background, and is kind of building up and away from it, almost like a typewriter. Yeah, some purple puzzler mentioning, yeah, naming things is recognizable. Sometimes you'll say, "Where are the shoes?" and then after you assemble it, you realize the image was a chocolate ice cream, which is totally what happens, especially in pairs and teams where you're describing what you're working on, and the team has to psychically understand what you mean by that. And that's part of like developing shared language on pairs and teams that helps you go a little bit faster, just being that extra edge of descriptive. Freya's doing a wonderful job here. Little extra shift getting that red tower flower. Oh, it is Daniela. Okay. Nice to see you again.
All right, so we're getting up to the H's. Where did I start? I started at the end, so still got a few people to go. So it's 27 minutes, and looks like Hannah has done about half of the image. And you can also see, as there is a gradient to the image. The top part of the circle is blue. At the bottom is like more of a pinkish hue, and there is also the brown table at the bottom. So we have Ines from Germany, Inga from the Netherlands, who actually I saw live yesterday. She was one of the other, well, her team won the 10-hour competition in Belgium. And so it was really nice to see Inga and Eric and Jim, Fenya, Rude, and Saskia. So their
Okay,
team
so
of
this is-
6 were the champions. We were in 4th place. So yeah, always nice to meet people in real life.
That's wonderful. And taking a slightly closer look at Hannah L's table there, she's done a huge chunk of that bottom portion, and is now getting into that upper region where the blues and some of those greens are going to slow a lot of people down. But it looks like she has probably about a third of the puzzle like locked up at the bottom, and then some of those red islands that are going to fill in from there, which is really phenomenal at this stage. Inga is doing a great job. She's also has that bottom that bottom third of the puzzle working on, probably a little bit less than Hannah at this point. A lot of those pinks, the table and the vase is built up, and you'll see this with gradients. A lot of times people will start to get into a rhythm of what the color looks like in a certain line, and then they'll be able to drop that line in bit by bit, rather than going, I'm going to get all of the pinks. There's a little bit more of a distinguishing between, I'm going to get all of the pinks that are a little fuzzy on one side or a little bit off, and that way they're not over pulling as they're going through, and they can really focus on, just one section of the puzzle at a time.
Yeah, so we also have Ingrid from Romania, Inka from Finland, and Iris from Denmark.
And Iris is doing a great job there. Has several islands built out. Looks like doing a little bit of that same hodgepodge of find the things that your eyes can see and build out from it. Who's I can't quite see who's in the bottom middle there. Um, but they're doing a fantastic job. They've gotten almost all the purples and reds built in. So now it's a game of being able to fill in the space between there and making sure that you're
Flying every
finding the
which
joins as you're
way.
going through.
Yeah, I've switched up the screen a bit, but
Okay.
that was Inka from Inka K from Finland. Yeah, who's got lots of nice red and purple islands and a really good structure there.
Lovely, lovely. Yeah. Yeah, and you can see some of the puzzlers that haven't done the full edge. They're still trying to place things about where they're going to go. They're trying to get that placement, and that's a huge amount of experience. There is being able to know about what the spacing is going to be on that puzzle, or looking at the image without having to be too terribly far off. Right? Whenever you're familiar with not just the puzzle shape, but the brand and everything like that, you can start to get a pretty good estimate of, okay, this particular flower is maybe about 5 pieces, and I know that it's going to be probably right here, and you already have the spacing worked out because you've done so many of these puzzles before.
All right, so we also have Jana from Germany. So that's Jana E from Germany, who's got a large section of the bottom. And then we have Jana from Slovakia and Janie from the UK. So we still have about 20 people to get through. So I'm just going to switch up the screen again. Want to have a chance that everybody has their moment before people start finishing. And I'm getting whispers from Daniela that someone at the other end of the alphabet is, at the very end of the alphabet, is over halfway. So let's check.
So scroll as you scroll through, go ahead and start scrolling through. But Yana's doing a really, really great job. Has a lot of those browns and yellows built out, and is just flying here. We are coming up on 32 minutes and 20 seconds here as we're charging through, and people are doing really great.
So we have Jenny from Finland, Jolie from the UK, Judith from Germany, Karen from Austria, Katerina from the Ukraine, and Kati from Germany. So Kati's done like pretty much the bottom half. So yeah, so over 60% done, some really big islands there.
Yeah, Kathy's one of the top puzzlers in the world, and it's really showing here because you can see that she's used that gradient to her advantage. She's built a whole lot of islands, and is just going to town. And you can see a lot of the other puzzlers who have started from the edge. They're using that to try to place those other islands in. And one of the hardest things to do is just find what pieces you're looking for inside of the field, right? Like whenever you want to build out one of those red flowers, you have to be able to find it in the chaos of the pile somehow. And sometimes having those having everything spread out is one way to make sure that you scan evenly across in order to find it. But Kathy's off to a really, really good move here.
Yeah, Kati was 5th place in the World Championships and is the top puzzler from Germany. So also we have Kirsten from Austria, Kirsty from Finland, Kristen from Norway, Lenka from Slovakia, and Lena from Norway.
Yeah, and look at like the black table. You can see the reflection on it in our camera, but it may not be quite as defined on their end, which is really really handy because those colors will pop well. And
Yeah,
Kristen
this is
Kristen is moving with a whole ton of speed. Has that whole bottom half built out, and you can see that she's already. It looks like she's sorted the edge pieces for that top, and so she'll be able to machine work her way around that and then fill in from there, which is really really phenomenal. Annalise is doing a wonderful job. Lenka has a whole bunch of the puzzle done from the bottom to the top. There's just big holes in the middle that need to get filled in. If she's able to capitalize on that, she can have a really, really good finish for today. Yeah, that a lot of that blue top is built in. Several of the flowers there has blue islands that are also filled in, and so it's going to come down to how crazy those some of those green leaves and textures are going to be, and that's where taking a couple extra seconds to just study the image and go, okay, this side has this kind of feature, this has this kind of feature. You're able to discern that a little bit more with just a couple extra seconds of time.
Yeah, but it looks like Kati, Kristen, and Lenka are very close together. They've all
Hmm.
got really great progress there.
Absolutely.
okay.
They're doing really, really well. Uh, yeah, Link is doing wonderful. Kristen, yeah, this is going to come down to be pretty
Alright.
close here, I think, for a lot of our finishers. And you can
So
see
on,
we're. Oh yeah, go ahead.
sorry, we have Lynn from Belgium, Madara from Latvia, Maggie Magdalena from Austria, Mari from the USA, Maria from Slovakia, and Mandy from the Netherlands. So I wonder if Mari has done this puzzle. So yeah, I wonder if the Americans have done this puzzle before. Eeboo is not really that common here. In Germany, probably not so common in Europe as for most of the American puzzles.
Yeah, I know. Some of the Americans may have. I'm not sure on this call because you know, like you say, Eeboo gets around. I know for sure Mari hasn't done this one. This is new to her. She hasn't gotten to do a lot of Eeboos, so this is uncharted territory for her, and she's doing really really well. You can see that she's built that. That whole bottom half and the upper part, and it looks like she has mostly the green leaves left to sort of fill in. And this is where you're going to see the slowdown for some of the top puzzlers is discerning those green leaves as they pass as you get to them, because one side has those like sharp pointy almost cactus like green leaves that extend. Another is slightly more spinachy, but it's split into 3 or 4 different spots. There's some of this like dead leaf on the bottom.
And
um,
the perspectives
it,
that
it's gonna be tricky for everybody in order to get through, but there's some good texture and color distinguishers that you're going to be able to build in there. And yeah, Sandra, that is some inside info from Jim on knowing about Mario on that one. For those of you unfamiliar, Mari's literally in the room next to me working on this right now. So it's kind of exciting to see it from this angle. But you can see Mari using her left hand almost like a miniature board and moving around in order to rapidly drop pieces in where she can see them.
So we've reached everybody on the list. So we started at N and we have gone through all the M's. We have Maria TV from Sweden, Marie from Norway, Matthias from Germany, Mona from Germany, Merta from the Netherlands. And I have Victor back on the screen, and soon we'll be closing in on the others as they yeah, get close to finishing.
Oh, and look at the person in the red there flying. I don't envy anybody. I don't envy anyone that can stand for 40 minutes and try to puzzle for that long. It's really tough on the back. We've seen some people sort of like lean on their knee or try to take steps or like little stretches here and there. It's real. I don't think that some of the like physicality gets drilled as much and trying to keep pace for that long. We're coming up on the 39-minute mark, and so usually after 35 minutes, that fatigue sets in of okay, I've been really focusing for a while. I just got to keep pushing, and everybody's doing a solid job of keeping through here. You can see Victor. Really flying. He's one of those people. He's one of those puzzlers that moves his fingers an awful lot and is really really rapid with his motion. And he's hopping around. You can see him picking up a couple pieces, dropping them in, double checking things. Looks like he might be trying to finish up that border rapidly. But he's going to have a similar amount of those green leaves to fill in. Uh, but it looks like the bottom half that he has left are all sort of one piece at a time. It's not big gaps, and that's typically easier to close on because you can also use the shape of the pieces as an advantage in order to dig through. And let's keep in mind here as we close in on the 40-minute mark, this is not an easy puzzle, and the fact that so many people are doing this well just shows you how much speed puzzling has advanced in just a few years. It's really really phenomenal.
Yeah, it looks like Victor's puzzle just fits on his table. Yeah, these circular puzzles are larger, uh,
Hmm.
58.5 centimeters in diameter. So yeah, about 60 centimeters in diameter.
Ooh, Victor and Mari look relatively neck and neck. Inga is also doing a really fantastic job here. You can see that she's trying to build in some of that sky, trying to use the gradient in order to get the rest of the pieces in. It looks like Kristen is also wrapping up here. She has a little bit of a split pile left and right at the bottom, but that may be set up as a little bit of a sort in order to get those darker greens versus the lighter greens. We're kind of coming in on the rapid close here. We might be able to see somebody go sub 43 here. Kristen left using both her hands, which for those of you in the know is an advancement in the field on her part. Mari trying to get pieces in one by one. You'll notice she's using just her right hand now, almost going one by one, trying to use her left hand like a little bit of a board. She might be overloaded there. Victor bouncing around like crazy. He's coming in on the last couple of handfuls of pieces. I think it's maybe about 50 pieces left. And he rapidly picks up a couple and drops them in. I can't even see where the rest of his pieces are, but there are some holes inside of there that are going to be tough for him to fill out. I hope he has them sorted and spilled and shifted somewhere. It looks like Inga's doing a fantastic job. Has the rest of that upper corner filled in. Victor dropping another handful of pieces in. Kristen being shifting her pieces around in order to get them all into the same spot, so that way she has them in easy access. It looks like she's reaching over top of the entire puzzle, has them all below. Mari has her pieces to the right. I think Kristen's ahead by just a little bit here, maybe a little more, gaining this. Victor accelerating into the second half because he doesn't have those big holes. He's able to use the shape of the pieces in order to fill it in. He's dropping them like crazy. There goes the rest of the edge. He only has to fill out some of those surrounding edges around the flowers in order to get this in. Mari falling behind a little bit here as some of those leaves are giving her a little bit of trouble. Kristen picking up time. She's falling behind Victor. She has a straight line of pieces right up the middle that need to get filled in, but Victor might be able to accelerate through here, being able to just drop some of those pieces in using that shape. You can see he's moving his hand around the entire board to drop things in if he picks them up. Inga doing a fantastic job coming down to the last handful of pieces. She moves her hand to the right, gets them using both of her fingers to try to shove those pieces in just a little bit, one by one. It's going to come down to the nail biter. I know. Oh, and Inga has finished. We have Inga wrapped up here. Congratulations, Inga. Getting those last
Amazing.
couple of pieces in. Well done. But now the fight for second and third and fourth comes in. Victor coming in on the last 5 or 6 pieces, dropping it in one by one. Kristen using one hand as a plate to get the rest of them in. And Victor is going to finish here. And there it is. Victor finishes second. And Kristen just behind him. Very, very well done, everyone. Absolutely phenomenal. Um, And now we have sort of a run for fourth, but this is really wild. We're coming up on the 44-minute mark, so those finishers were all just over 43 minutes and just under 44, somewhere in there. Really well done so far, everybody.
Yeah, that was amazing. Very tense, very exciting. So just to recap, first was Inga. In the same minute was Victor, and in the same minute was Kristen. So we had 3 finishes. Yeah, in less than 60 seconds. Could be closer than that. So well done, everyone.
I mean, I clearly haven't had to shave that close in a while, so that's really well done. Being able to keep track of everything like that. And I highly encourage everybody to keep moving as best you can, right? Because it's always about you versus the clock. Mari finishing up here, coming in on the last maybe 7 or 8 pieces, going to be able to securely get fourth unless somebody sneaks in. And
Lenka
Mari
has a missing piece.
Oh no! A piece down.
Oh. And
Lenka
Kati,
finishes, Kathy finishes, and Mari finishes.
Oh, Kati,
Oh
we didn't have
wow!
you on screen. Oh. Got Lenka just in time. Kati just missed the final moments. Woo.
Well done. We'll have to we'll have to check the timing tapes on that to see the positions. But that was a really fantastic finish for that second
Ooh.
wave of people coming
Yeah,
in.
because
Very,
the
very well done.
top 3 were in one wave, then there was a 2-minute gap, and then Lenka, Kati, and Mari and Hannah all in the same minute. Well done. So we have 7 finishes: Inga, Victor, Kristen, Lenka, Kati, Mari, and Hannah. Whew.
Congratulations, everybody! And this is not for those of you at home. This is not an easy puzzle. So being able to get this wrapped up in under 46 minutes is bananas and really impressive. And Kiara finishes as well. Very well done. Oh wow!
Struggling to keep up with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is where the waves of puzzlers start rolling in little by little, and we've seen that outside of Worlds at finals. There tends to be sort of groups of people of similar puzzling puzzling finesse, sort of coming in and in these waves of 3 or 4 all in one shot, which is really impressive. I'm cleaning up my screen here a little bit. Tobias coming in on his close as well. You can see him using that machine-like precision to just grab a couple pieces, puts them in. He never seems hurried. There's a lot of puzzlers that look a little frantic and almost like gnat-like running around. And Tobias just looks cool as a cucumber, just going piece by piece, getting the next ones in. Really impressive. Vicky has a couple handfuls of pieces left as well. Ellen going to push and finish strong here. Tobias finishes. Very well done. Congratulations. Getting that wrapped up. And I'm sorry if I'm a little delayed here for people watching on the YouTube. I'm little delayed on my feed. Apologies for that. Yeah, a couple of people finished. So if you guessed a time that was around the 40 around 43 44 minutes, you were correct. So well done on that. Veronica coming in, keep pushing everybody. I know sometimes whenever you hear other people finish ahead of you, you can sort of get in your head and be like, oh well, I guess that's that. It's you against the clock. You always want to be pushing for your best time, and then the rankings follow from that. So keep pushing no matter what. Let you focus on you. The more you can keep your focus on what you're doing and the solutions on the puzzle, the faster you're going to go. You can see Mona there doing really well. Ellen trying to push through, getting the last couple of pieces in hers built out. Vicky making a quick dash. She might be able to sneak in here and steal a spot. And it looks like she finishes just in time. Yes, and Vicky will take in will take in the next slot. I've kind of lost track a little bit about who is where at this point in the rankings, but that was a really good push there by Vicky right at the right at the last beat. Oh, 11th for Vicky. Very well done. So our top 10 finishers have all gotten done in just under 50 minutes, and that should tell you how difficult this puzzle is. Is if even some of the best in the world are taking over 40 minutes to get through it. That's a little bit of indication of how tricky this one is. Very well done. Cleaning this up a little bit. There we go. So I can see everybody. Veronica looks like she's going to be coming in on the finish. Just gotta keep pushing a little bit more. It's easy whenever you go so long that the slog starts ticking in and you start going, okay, one more piece. I'm gonna put this one here, this one here. Remember, it's a race. You gotta keep that physicality going for the whole time until your puzzle's completed. Veronica finished, and Paloma just behind her. Congratulations to both of you. That was very close.
Yay! Go Paloma.
Very well done. Congratulations, Paloma. It was really fun getting to see you puzzle. That was really cool techniques across the board. That was fantastic. Very well done. Looks like with the cheering, absolutely. No, you earned it. Very well done. And Ellen right behind her. Congratulations to Ellen. Yeah, and we're gonna keep seeing waves of people come in and finish through here, which is really fantastic. Just congratulations to everybody so far. And I think we have there's over 70 competitors in this round. Is that right, Michelle?
We have 87
Oh,
participants.
yeah, that's way more than 70. 87 participants, and having the top I think it's the top 15 now or so finishing just under 51 is really impressive. It looks like Mona is coming into the close. Just got to keep pushing, keep the acceleration on. We believe in you. There we go. Congratulations, Mona. There it is. Very well done.
So we're at 51 minutes and we've had 15 finishes so far.
Absolutely phenomenal. And really amazing. And everybody that's still going, you're doing fantastic. This is not an easy one by any stretch. We can see that Iris is doing a really good job. Has most of the bottom filled out. A lot of the top is going to fill in some of that gradient inside of the that blue sky-ish kind of area, and then it's going to come down to those green plants that are that give everybody a little bit trouble because they're split. And that's one thing to like keep in mind whenever you're doing puzzling. Sometimes the hardest parts are where you have very similar colors and textures, but they're split away from each other. Like even if it's only like a couple of rows, it's enough to throw you off because you have to check in two different places for each piece on where it lines up, as opposed to having them all kind of in the same place, and you can very rapidly try to brute force it. Whenever they're split, it becomes a little bit harder, and you have to keep track of more information. Inga doing a great job. Jin, doing a really solid job here. Has the most of the bottom third is coming up through that central flower. Has those red flower islands. A really common tactic on this one. I'm kind of surprised so many people saw red over some of the oranges and yellows. But you know, color differences, what pops out to you, what's even on the table at the moment goes a long way. It looks like Carolyn is doing really well. You can see that As time keeps ticking on, you'll see puzzlers start using one hand a little more often. They start going, okay, this one at a time, this one at a time, and it's a very different pacing than early on. Whenever there's so many great options to work on, once you start getting to the point of a little bit of a slog or a little bit of a brute force, you can see people's physicality slow down a little bit. Iris picking up her pace a little bit here. Picking up her pace. It looks like Sarah is doing a good job shifting her pieces around a little bit in order to be able to reach to the top. And is dunking pieces one by one and only has a couple of handfuls left in order to get it done. Just got to keep pushing through here. We believe in you. Everybody just got to get that second round. Whatever you have to do to dig deep and get that second breath of acceleration in is going to be really important. It looks like Jenna is close to the last handfuls of pieces as well, and so is Caroline. Might be a little bit of a rush here for the next wave. In order to see who finishes, who wants it. It's going to be one of those rapid fire brute forces. You can see people trying to rotate the pieces in their hands, just trying to use just their fingers in order to get it in, or rotating their entire wrist, which is a little less economical, but if it gets the pieces in, go for it. Coming in, and Yasmin finishes. Congratulations. You're on the smaller screen, but I could see things going in. I wasn't entirely sure, so sorry for not calling you out quite as much. But you did a really well, really solid job there. It looked like you were trying to finish those greens a little bit. That gives everybody trouble. So very well done. We're coming up on the 55 minutes and 40 seconds here, and Veronica finishes as well. Congratulations. And here comes Amelia to finish up as well. You can see she's moving very rapidly. Amka finishes. People just starting to roll in a little bit faster, a little bit more. Amelia finishes. Congratulations. There it is. Prim, super excited and proud of Amelia as well. Iris just behind her, only a few seconds behind. Really fantastic. It's always difficult whenever you hear more names being called out and you get the nerves and the hands start jittering just a little bit in order to keep that focus in. But congratulations, you were able to crack the time. Oh wow.
Ooh, that was they just kept rolling in one after another here. Oh, so just a recap. So we have about 22 finishes roughly at 56 minutes.
Congratulations. Really very well done. And Carolyn finishes. I know a lot of people, they have their goal of just getting the puzzle done in under an hour, getting the puzzle done in under 2 hours, and a lot of people are well on their way to doing this. Carolyn's gonna finish up, and it looks like Anne Marie is also coming down the pipeline. Just has to push a little bit more. Those greens giving everybody trouble in that area. Yeah. Some tricks that you can use if you start feeling the slog. Sing to yourself a little bit. Start talking to yourself about what pieces you're looking on. Take 2 seconds to like study the image and then dive into it and really keep going from there.
All right, so I think we have a little break for the moment. So I'll just add one more person to the screen, and then we can call in our first place winner for the day, Inga. So so on the screen right now we have Jana, Kasinakova, Stein, Jenny, Jana, and Smaranda. It's a bit hard to see how much Jana has done because the camera is very close to the image. So it looks like she's going to be done soon, but possibly there's a whole bunch in the top half that we don't see. So Jana, if you hear this, could you just please move your phone or your camera a bit further away? All right, so let's check in with Inga. So first place 2 days in a row. That's oh, you're on a winning streak.
Yeah, my boyfriend actually just said the same, like, whoa, winning 2 days in a row. And I was like, oh, I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah. Yeah, well done. So what did you think of this puzzle today?
Well, I really liked it actually. Throughout the whole puzzle, I was just like, oh, this is going pretty good. It really felt like a fast, easy, fun puzzle for me. Um, yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Hmm. So it's funny, Jim made a comment. So your Jim, who was also on your team yesterday, made the comment that luckily it was not the vase of flowers. He would much rather have this vase of flowers than the one that we got yesterday.
Oh yeah, the, the flowers from yesterday were like a puzzle from hell.
Absolutely, I really didn't like that puzzle. So one of the puzzles that we got over the 10 hours, there were 9 puzzles in total, and like puzzle number 8 was a vase of flowers, but done in a painting style where you could see like the brush strokes. So it was actually like a proper original painting, and it was the background was just dark blue and black, and it's just so much black. And the piece cut was only 2 ins and 2 outs. So in the end, we had like 100 pieces to shape
Solid
sort, but
black.
they were all the same shape and all the same color.
Yeah, we
That's
immediately started with already one person working on the black pieces, but everyone who was working on it just got depressed and then had to swap with someone to do the black pieces. But so we started a bit earlier with that, so I think that was good because if you have to do it with 4 people, just the black pieces, ugh, but it was horrible.
And our team, it was like, okay, who wants this puzzle? You take it. No, you take it.
Yeah, I actually was on my break because I had done the 3 puzzles before.
Where is this?
But then my teammates got so depressed of the
So
puzzle that I had to swap in
blue.
because somebody was like, I can't take it anymore. And I was still fresh, not depressed by the puzzle yet. So yeah, that one was not fun at all, but there were some fun puzzles.
I'm glad it was like a team event where you could share the load a little bit and you didn't have to just like do that whole stretch on your own. That would have been really tough.
I mean, there were some teams who were just 4 people with nobody to swap in. And I have so much respect for these people because we were already super tired and we were sick, so we could take breaks every now and then. But I can't imagine doing that the whole day. I mean,
It's
I can, but
wild.
I think it's better for your health as well to take some breaks.
I have a I there seems to be something diametrically opposed to being good for your health and intentionally doing a marathon of puzzles for 10 hours. So there's so
Yeah,
that's a
so
little bit.
I had instructed Jim to take care of me because if I had to do quite a few puzzles in a row, so he just came out like, okay, drink something now, because I knew I would forget because I would get into the puzzle focus and just try to do it as fast as I could.
A designated safety advisor.
Yes.
It's really fun. On this, like, I guess I'm kind of curious on this puzzle today. You saw the like vase or vase of flowers before in other contexts. Whenever you see it here, how do you treat the puzzle differently if you've seen something similar before? Because there's all sorts of puzzles that are like, here's a vase with a whole bunch of flowers in it, or here's a thing sitting on a table with a whole bunch of flowers. Does your brain go, oh, I have seen this before and therefore it is easy, or does it go, oh no, or something in
Uh,
between? What ends up happening?
I see the puzzle and I'm just like, okay, what's my strategy? Do I need to do the edge first or not? Because usually I start with the edge, but for this one, it looked like it was a lot of blue. So I figured, just sort it out and leave it. And then just look at like the pieces that are, similar in texture and color, but not too big because sometimes you feel like, oh, this color really stands out, but then it's too many pieces and it's hard to do. So I started with searching for the purples and the reds. And then, just all the textures. So the pineapple thingy and yeah. I
Yeah,
don't know. I just went through all over the place, I think.
Well, it's really cool because like you say, I'm used to seeing you very much go for the edge initially on things, and then use that as sort of a grid line. About how far into the sorting process were you like, yeah, the edge isn't gonna work here?
I mean, I decided when I looked at the box, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do the edge. So I decided before I started, but then of course sometimes you say like, oh, let's do the edge. Usually when I decide not to do the edge, I do it when I'm stuck or when I feel like, oh, I have to think what I want to do next. Let's do the edge in the meantime. But yeah, and then I think I had done already quite like the bottom half when I started doing the top edge. But for me, the edge also really helps with pick and place, like with putting stuff where it sort of belongs. Because otherwise it's sort of what you said, it moves around a bit and it turns out it's not exactly in the right spot, and then it can really slow you down.
Yeah, whenever you have to keep making those adjustments for being off grid, it can eat away, especially if you need to like stick big chunks together and they're a little disjointed. It feels like there's more space in there.
Yeah.
How do you handle that? If do you like, is there a voice in your head going, hey, some things are too far away here, or it's a little bit off? Like, how do you course correct whenever something goes a little off like that?
Yes, I'm usually not that good at looking at the box and figuring out where stuff goes. I really had to practice that with speed puzzling because when we used to puzzle, we didn't even use the box because I'm like, oh no, it's too easy when you use the image. So we always put the box away. So with speed puzzling, I had to learn to actually use it and to be able to find stuff. At least these were pretty big chunks. So it was, for me, it was easier to see where they went than when it's smaller pieces, because then sometimes I'm just like, I don't know where this goes. I think this time I was not that bad with placing, so I didn't really have that big issue with they were in a completely wrong spot.
You can do
I mean, the
it.
main issue was that the pieces are just so big and they were everywhere, so I had to
Oh,
move
gosh.
pieces out of the puzzle.
Yeah, spacing
Okay.
issues is always always
not even
always
under an
huge
hour.
on things like
Much
this.
harder. I expected.
Do you have like a oversized table, or is it just like, did you just use world's dimensions kind of a thing?
No, I used the whole table.
Okay.
Actually, my new strategy for the Euro Jigsaw Jams has become, when I think I know what the brand is, then I start with a flip and sort of
Hey,
this
Nerita.
brand
Hey,
puzzle, so
Neon.
that I
Hey,
have to feel for
Lodador.
the pieces beforehand. And I did it with the Eeboo
Let's
we
see
had
what
on the
place I
last
was.
pairs EJJ, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I need to spread out the pieces
Where's
from the
me?
back a bit more when I
Okay.
start, because I had such a huge stack in my practice round. I was like, oh no, I need
6,
to
7.
spread it out more because the
Okay,
pieces
I
are so
was
huge.
so 28.
Yeah.
29,
Well, and getting that
30,
spacing down,
31,
especially
32,
for
33, 34,
like the
35,
whole circle
36th
edge
place.
is really tough.
Let's see how fast
And
they do.
I see a lot of people with the circles. The search piles end up getting
44
really
minutes.
split because they're trying to conserve space, and that to me makes it a little more difficult
what?
to
I'm
figure
pretty
out
happy
where
with that.
everything's supposed to go or what you're hunting for.
Yeah, I just had my stack of pieces. Most of them were on the right of the puzzle, but like
33
some were
minutes.
still on
Actually,
the left.
that's not even that
Now I
bad.
finally can move
Yes.
my puzzle so that I can put them together. But you can't really move your puzzle when it's not connected yet.
It's so
because
big
then all
also,
your
but I had so
spacing
many
messed
pieces
up.
connected. That's actually so
Yeah.
cringe.
When
So
you're,
many pieces were connected
I know
initially.
some puzzlers.
So honestly, I would have
you know,
had slower because I had
before,
sections
they're
of
very
5
much like
pieces.
on the
4 and
table
5
puzzlers,
pieces. I had 2
where,
sections.
You know, if it's on the table,
And then a
that's the only
few
thing they're
bunch
gonna
of
look at.
pieces
There's
from the
some that
edge that were
use the image
connected
very
3 pieces
explicitly
together.
to do the perfect placement.
And I was
the,
even,
the
I mean,
pick and
actually,
place
I
or
was
dead
puzzling
reckoning
standing
sort
up,
of
but
methodology.
that wasn't necessarily better
When
because
you're
my
going
light
to
comes
start
from
working on
behind.
something,
And I was
do
blocking
you
the light,
see
so I had
what
to
you
like
want to
kind of
work on
go
in the
from the
pile first,
side.
and then check with the image
It's
to
it's
decide
very cute
where
puzzle.
it's going to go?